Have you ever met someone who speaks with complete confidence about a topic, even though they clearly don't understand it? They sound certain, they speak loudly, they defend their opinions strongly. But the more they talk, the more obvious it becomes that their knowledge is actually very limited. Surprisingly, psychology has an explanation for this strange behavior. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias where people with low ability or knowledge in a particular area tend to overestimate their competence. In simple terms, people who know the least about a subject often believe they know the most. At the same time, people who are highly skilled or knowledgeable sometimes underestimate how much they actually know. This psychological effect was first discovered in 1999 by two psychologists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger from Cornell University. In their research, they asked participants to complete tests involving logic, grammar, and humor. After finishing the tests, participants were asked to estimate how well they had performed compared to others. The results were surprising. Participants who performed the worst on the tests consistently believed they had performed much better than they actually did. Meanwhile, the highest-performing participants often underestimated their own results. So why does this happen? The answer lies in how knowledge and self-awareness are connected. The skills needed to perform well at a task are often the same skills needed to evaluate performance. When someone lacks knowledge in a subject, they also lack the ability to recognize their own mistakes. In other words, if you don't know much about a topic, it becomes harder to realize how little you actually know. This creates a dangerous combination, low knowledge paired with high confidence. Psychologists often describe this idea using something called the Dunning-Kruger curve. When people first learn a little about a topic, their confidence tends to rise very quickly. After gaining just a small amount of information, they may feel like they fully understand the subject. But as they continue learning, they start to discover how complex the topic really is. Suddenly, their confidence drops. They realize that there are many details, concepts, and challenges they didn't see before. Eventually, with enough learning and experience, confidence begins to grow again, this time based on real understanding. The Dunning-Kruger effect appears in many areas of everyday life. For example, someone might watch a few videos about investing and suddenly believe they understand the entire stock market. Or someone might read a few articles online and start speaking like an expert on medicine, politics, or psychology. In reality, their knowledge is still very limited, but their confidence can be extremely high. Social media can also make this effect even stronger. Online platforms often reward confidence and bold opinions. Content that sounds certain and dramatic spreads faster than careful explanations. Because of this, people who speak with strong confidence, even if they're wrong, can sometimes appear more convincing than actual experts. Interestingly, the Dunning-Kruger effect also works in the opposite direction. People who truly have expertise often assume that others understand things just as easily as they do. Because their knowledge feels normal to them, they may underestimate how much they actually know. This is why experts sometimes sound more cautious or uncertain compared to beginners who speak with absolute confidence. So, what can we learn from the Dunning-Kruger effect? One important lesson is the value of intellectual humility. Recognizing that there is always more to learn helps keep our confidence balanced with reality. The more we study a subject, the more we begin to understand its depth and complexity. And ironically, the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know. In the end, true intelligence isn't about pretending to know everything. It's about staying curious, questioning our assumptions, and continuing to learn. Because sometimes the biggest mistakes happen not when we know too little, but when we think we know everything.